So just to say, all the resources that we've used for this presentation are on Google Classroom.
So, we start off with, after Bloody Sunday, the Tsar offered the people of Russia the Duma, which was an elected parliament. It allowed people the right to free speech and the right to form political parties. But then in November, he offered financial support to the peasants. But liberals plus middle classes were delighted. However, revolutionary groups were suspicious. And they were right to be, not trusting the Tsar. Because when he made peace in Japan, he brought back the best troops to crush the Roosevelt in Western Russia. Rebellions in the countryside were ruthlessly put down. In December 1905, Soviet leaders were exiled to Siberia, instead to fighting in the streets of Moscow. By the end of 1906, the revolution was completely crushed. Leaders were exiled or dead, or in hiding abroad. It was clear that no revolution would succeed as long as the army was loyal to the Tsar. In May 1906, the Tsar underlined his victory by introducing the fundamental laws. This agreed to the existence of the Duma, but left them virtually powerless. To conclude this destabilised the country and left many people in Russia angry because the Tsar broke his promise.
So another shady figure in the Tsarist regime was Rasputin, and he arguably was one of the necessary factors for causing the destabilisation of Russia. So the public distrusted him. His name, Rasputin, actually means disreputable, and people didn't like him as he was rumoured to be an alcoholic and a womaniser. And this led to rumours of an affair with the Tsarina, which undermined the Tsar's position as Alexandria's wife, and also made people come to dislike the Tsarina as well. And also, Rasputin was left in charge during World War I, and this angered the nobility, as he didn't have a divine right to rule, he didn't have royal blood, yet he was being left in charge of the country, even with no experience in politics. And finally, he had power over the Tsar, which was clear for the people to see, which made the Tsar look weak, as he, via hypnosis controlled the symptoms of the Tsar's son's haemophilia. So therefore, Rasputin represented to the people the Tsar's inability to rule and his weakness, and therefore highlighted the need for revolution in Russia.
In August 1914, Russia entered the First World War. Tension within the country seemed to disappear. The Tsar seemed genuinely popular with his people, and there was an instant display of patriotism. The Tsar actions were applauded. Workers and peasants all joined in the patriotic enthusiasm. Anti-German strikes and demonstrations were abandoned. However, as the war continued, the Tsar began to lose support and popularity of key sectors of Russian society. The Russian army was a huge army of conscripts. At first, the soldiers were enthusiastic of the war, and also of the rest of society. Even so, many peasants felt that they were fighting for the country against the Germans rather than show their loyalty to the Tsar. Russian soldiers fought bravely against the Germans, but had little chance against their army. They were badly dead that they didn't have the right equipment, such as they didn't even have the right boots and weapons. In September 1915, the Tsar took personal command of the armed forces. This made little differences, as the Tsar was not a particularly able commander. This also meant that people held him responsible for the defeats, which also meant that he lost popularity and support.
The March Revolution was the revolution that led to the Tsar abdicating, and there were four groups that contributed to this: the army, middle classes, peasants, workers, ethnic minorities, and the aristocracy. For the army, most of the army were peasants, and they were badly led and poorly treated, and they had a shortage of supplies. For the middle classes, They had to set up their own organisations due to the government failing, and the Duma were dismissed by the Tsar. The aristocracy, many officers died, and they called for the Tsar to step down. They had no workers for the estates because of the peasants and workers in the army, and they were appalled by the influence of Rasputin and ended up assassinating him. Peasants, workers and ethnic minorities they gained more jobs, but with little extra wages, and there were fuel and food shortages, and Muslims were attempted to be conscripted. And this all led to the March Revolution itself, which first started out with strikes breaking out in 1917, and they were joined by soldiers, and this led to the industry coming to a standstill. Then the army refused to put down a revolt, and the Duma set up a provisional government, and Soviets were set up again. Then the Tsar abdicated on the 15th of March